How are you all? I hope you all are safe and fine. Children, geography is an interesting subject. Am I right? Like your maths and English. Many of you find it a boring subject because it's more of theoretical and you don't get much to do with the practical work, right? So children, I tell you, it is an important subject like other subjects. It helps in clearing your many entrance exams because it is a part of your general science. So children, if you understand the basics of it very well, then you can write these subjective and objective answers in a very good manner. So I decided to make one video on the chapter, which is resources and development. This is the first chapter in class 10th geography. I have taken the text as a reference from the NCERT only. Children, these NCERT books are available online as well in all the shops, and this is the book which is mostly used by all the boards. In this chapter, resources and development, the first word is resources. Resources is a broad term. Resources includes natural resources, man-made resources, and the third, which is human resources. Children, just remember, human resources is a very important resource. So children, the question which is written in this book, can you identify and name the various items used in making life comfortable in our villages and towns? So list the items and name the materials used in their making. So children, there are a few items that were used by the villagers in villages. The first is the food that is being obtained by various plants and animals. Then second is the clothes that were made up of silk, wool, cotton. Third is the houses. These were made up of mud, bricks, bamboo, and the very common, which is called bullock carts, that were made up of rubber, steel, wood, and some other materials like iron, etc. So these were the items that were used in making the life comfortable. Now let's talk about the items that were used by the people in towns. There were the houses which were made up of cement, iron rods, glass, wood and bricks. They having furniture in their home which were made up of wood, rubber, steel, and the food that is being obtained, that were from crops and animals. So children, these were the items. Now the question comes that what is resources? So in the book, just read the line, everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided it is technologically accessible, second, economically feasible, and the third is culturally acceptable, can be termed as resources. So children, there are three conditions that has to be fulfilled for anything or material to be called as a resource. The first is technologically accessible, the second is economically feasible, and the third is culturally acceptable. Children, the very first I will explain you that what all these three conditions are. I will explain you what is technologically accessible. It means the technology needed to use the resource must be available so that we can extract and make proper use of it. Okay children? Now let's talk about the second, which is economically feasible. Okay? It means we must have enough money to extract that resource and make proper use of it. And the third is culturally acceptable. It means any resource must be accepted by the people. It must not disturb or hurt their sentiments, culture, surrounding, home, etc. So let's see one example, a very common example and very easy example which I have taken, that is petroleum. It is one of the earth's most in-demand resources, which is also known as oil. Petroleum, it is found underground and is extracted or brought out with giant drilling machines. Okay, children? So, what the human beings do? They first of all locate the oil field. They find out the oil reservoir. Then what they do? They see whether it is technologically accessible or not. So, if we talk about this example, petroleum, in this example, yes, it is technologically accessible because the technology required to extract is available to us. Okay, children, I hope you can relate it. Now, second, let's talk about the second condition, which is economically feasible. In this example of petroleum, now we'll see how this has been economically feasible for those countries where the oil reservoir is there. If I talk about the oil reservoir in the world, then there are some countries like Saudi Arabia, Canada and Iran. They have a huge oil reserves. They have an estimated the total amount of oil in an oil reservoir. So this can be technically recovered at a cost that is financially feasible at the present price of oil. Okay, children? Now let's talk about the third condition, which is culturally acceptable. How this resource petroleum is culturally acceptable? It means petroleum, that is oil, has been accepted by the people. People of all nations are using it in various forms. People realized its importance. We are using many petroleum products these days, like kerosene, diesel, petrol, gasoline. So there are many petroleum products available to us. So children, this was the one example that I have explained. In this manner, you can explain many examples. Let's talk about the iron. Now children, see this picture where you will find three terms, which is physical environment, that is nature. The second is technology. The third is institutions. In the center of this picture or diagram, you will see that human beings is written. See the picture, it itself shows that there is an interdependency between all three and they are related to human beings. Human beings means human as a resource. It is the most important resource because without them, anything which is available in our environment or surroundings can't be utilized in any way. So if you see the book, in the right side, there is a line written that resources are a function of human activity. So children, human beings themselves are essential components of resources. When we talk about the resources, then we have been told from the very beginning that there are many types of resources, like man-made resources, natural resources, but we have not been explained in a big or huge manner that what is a human resource. Human resource is a very important resource. Children, just remember this, because without the presence of humans' mind, we cannot extract those resources, we cannot utilize those resources to satisfy our needs. So that's why human is considered as a very important resource. Now, the complete process of transformation of things available in our environment involves an interdependent relationship between these all three, which is nature, technology, and the third is institutions. So children, I'm going to explain one by one what is nature. We all know that things available to us are all natural, right? We have not created those things. For example, if we talk about air, if we talk about land, if we talk about iron, steel, aluminum, we have not created these things. Okay, so nature is defined by the rainfall, climate, topographic features of the place. It does not depend on man-made or any developed resources. So people of any country, first of all, what they do, they try to identify the things which is available in our environment. So let's take one example. Like I have taken the example of marble. People of our country, India, they have identified the huge deposits of marble in Makrana. It is the name of a place, and their surrounding places of Rajasthan. So what they have done, now they have developed the technology. For what? To extract those marbles. So there are many techniques which is called quarrying, mining, which has been developed by the people to extract those marbles. Now the third, which is called institutions. Again, there is important role of human beings. What they have done, human beings have developed or created many institutions. They have created institution means industries, organizations, firms. What they do, these organization is the place where the resources come together. There are different resources which an organization uses to accomplish its goals, its organizational goals. The resources which is used by the organizations are like physical resources, which they get from the environment, from the physical environment. They use financial resources, and the most important, they use human resources. They hired many employees. Then what they do, they bring these resources together to make a finished goods, and then those goods are used by the humans to satisfy their daily needs. Got my point? So children, in this manner you can take some other examples to explain that how these three things are interdependent. Okay, now the next is that how this institutions helps in accelerating the economic development of any country. Right? Now children, you can see this line, it is written over there in the right side, that the process of transformation of things available in our environment involves an interdependent relationship between these three, which is nature, technology, and institutions. Human beings, what they do, they interact with nature through technology, means how, and what they do, they create institutions to accelerate their economic development. What are the indicators of economic development? I hope children you must remember, you must have studied in your subject economics that what is economic growth and what is economic development. When we talk about the development, that means improvement. Improvement in what? Improvement in quality of life, improvement in living standards of the people. So when the number of institution increases, means when the organization increases, then it means there is an increase in a production of goods, and simultaneously there is an increase in a labor force, there is an increased use of developed technology, there is an increased use of human capital. So all these leads to what? All these leads to a growth in the economic development. So children, just remember that if any country is called developing or a developed nation, then they are being measured on the basis of these parameters. When the production increases, more and more people get hired in the organization, their living standard increases, their quality of life increases, and this all leads to a growth and development of that country. Okay children, now in my next video I am going to discuss about all the resources that has been classified on certain basis. Okay children, so children, take care and goodbye.